Hi there, and welcome to Wassell Woodworking. On today's episode, we're going to be making this bowl out of 4 American hardwoods: pear, cherry, maple, and walnut. I'm also going to be using the CNC to cut a pattern in this segmented bowl. So join me in seeing how this is done.
So here's the jig that I had to make in order to be able to hold the pieces onto the CNC. It's made to where the incline is 22.5 degrees, so that way each piece will have 2 of those, or in other words 45 degrees, and so it'll take 8 pieces to make a total of 360 degrees. The clamp didn't quite hold, so you can see I had to put a couple rubber washers on there, but it works out well. And the screw in the foreground is actually used to tighten it, to force it to the other side, and that helps register everything. And then you can flip it back around and do the same thing all over. You'll see me tightening the screw there, and then taking the rubber pieces and pushing the clamp down. And then the CNC machine will come right along and make that same cut on the opposite side. This actually takes about 6 passes to go through really about 3/4 of an inch of depth.
Alright, we're going to mix the epoxy up. I'm using the 205 fast hardener, but it's 60 degrees in my shop, so that'll allow me a lot of setup time. Once I get it good, then I can take it to a warm spot and let it heat up. And I want this to be a little thicker, so I'm going to get some stuff to put in. So I'm going to put this 4/6 colloidal silica filler in. Basically it's just like a powder, just thickens things up. The lines on this should make it look pretty when it goes together. So this whole thing's taped on the back side. So all I have to do now is basically dish this out and into the cracks and crevices of this. There we go. A lot easier to throw this away than it is to clean your hands. You can clean your hands though with acetone with really not much of a problem. So bring this together. Put that over there. Take this, put it around here. Got the heat lamp on there. This will produce a lot of heat. This will help it cure in a couple hours. So I've taken all the tape off and wax paper, and the epoxy's really starting to set up, even though it's still cool. But by tomorrow it'll be rock solid. Anyway, took all those pieces off with the chisel and knife while it's still relatively soft. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over to the sander and just clean it up, just to take a look at it. And next thing I'm going to do is surface this so that I can put it onto the CNC and have it actually give me a flat finish on here. And I'll also be gluing some blocks onto it so that the CNC has something to hold it down with. So now you can see what it looks like now that the corners have been sanded down. You can see a better feel for it. So now I'm going to do is take this, mount some tabs, and finish the top so that then I can take this piece here and hopefully set it down into the top of this.
So here the bowl is with the tabs on the side. It's all held in place, and the CNC is using a 1/2 inch mill bit to actually run over the top. It takes 2 passes, and that ensures that it's nice and smooth. And this is also a great look at how you can see the maple, the pear, the cherry, and the walnut, how they all go together at that joint. So now that the top is all nice and smooth, the bit's going to come in and start taking off about 1/10 of an inch at a time as it spirals down to about 5/8 of an inch. And this is the inset that will be used to put the bottom of the bowl into the sides. Well, here's the bottom. Now I'm going to start turning this on the lathe to the exact dimension so it'll slide into the bowl that was on the CNC machine that was cut just a few minutes ago.
Alright, so I have the bowl. I've cut the inside out to about 9 1/8. I have this piece, and I had a few issues. It was too small, so I scored off all the edges, added new pieces of wood, which you can really see there. But some areas it blends fairly well. You can see the glue line around here. But anyway, that will actually fit directly in to the bowl like that. And at that point it's ready to be glued up so that I can start turning the outside. Alright, so I have now glued the piece in with epoxy using this, some filler. It'll take a while to set up because it's cool in the basement. Tomorrow when I come home I should be able to put it on the lathe, cut off these little holding tabs, and start turning the outside of the bowl.
So believe it or not, this is the first time I've actually turned a bowl in a long time. And I start off by putting this on, and I'm using the wrong type of tool on the lathe. But anyway, I eventually changed over to a bowl gouge, and I used it to finish things off, as you'll see in the transition here. And it's much more effective, and as I go back and forth, getting it to the exact size. In this case, basically the shape is flat along the side of the bowl. Now I'm facing the front of the bowl, so I turn my steady rest to the side and just take a few passes to ensure that it's nice and flat before I start attacking the inside of the bowl. So I really got excited about turning the inside of the bowl, so unfortunately I forgot to take some video, but I do have this clip here where I'm trying to touch up that inside corner where the bottom and the sides meet together. But anyway, it all turned out well in the end, and so now I got to do some final sanding before I can start working on the bottom of the bowl, which is up next. Now that we're ready to start working on the bottom of the bowl, I have to take a piece of plywood on the lathe, sandwiched with another ring, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this down so that the inside diameter of that ring is the same as the outside diameter of the bowl. And then what will happen is that bowl will be squeezed into there and it will hold it. It's the only way I have to do make this work with something of a bowl this large. And it takes a bunch of iterations of checking, and then once it fits, it does fit snugly. As you can see here, as the bowl is actually put into place. Now that the bowl's mounted and turning, we're going to use this opportunity to take off the waste block using the tailstock to hold the bowl in place, just so it doesn't come loose.
The question is, on a bowl like this, where do you want it to sit? You don't make it flat because then it'll wobble on everything, right? Do you dish it in and let it sit on the edges and put a couple things on the bottom, or do you bring it in and make a raised place in the center where it can sit? You know what I'm saying?
Now that the waste block is gone, I've moved the tailstock away and brought the steady rest up parallel to the bottom of the bowl. Now I'm starting to shape it to provide the rim that the bowl will sit on. The majority of the bottom will be recessed with the exception of about 3/4 of an edge of a lip about a 1/2 inch from the side of the bowl. As you can see here, how that started to form. And now the trick is just to basically get it all smooth and sand it up. So now it's everyone's favorite time, which is sanding. So the first thing I did was I used a self-aligning bowl sander that I just purchased to sand it. And this uses the spinning the bowl to spin the sandpaper to sand it. But in the center it doesn't work that well, so you have to use something else. So in this case I have a bowl sander that can attach to the drill, and I will sand it. But you know, there's really nothing like taking your time and using a good piece of sandpaper in your hand to go over it to make sure everything feels just right. And in the end, it all looked really well. I polished all the way up to 400 grit sandpaper, which provides a nice reflection. It's so smooth.
I think that's it. We're going to stop here. Hey, before we go any further, how about going down below and clicking subscribe? Subscribe today if you think I've done a good job with this. Now we're going to put a little Wassell oil on here, and you'll really get to see how the color just pops. I'm just going to pour it directly in, and I will start to rub this around in here. I've already removed all the dust earlier, and this really helps bring out the colors in the wood. And this is a finish that uses oxygen and air to cure and actually warm up. So if you leave it in a rag and the rag is left in a ball, it'll build up enough heat to where it'll actually spontaneously combust. And that is not what you want. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me build this beautiful bowl today on Wassell Woodworking. It really turned out nice. The Wassell oil has a beautiful finish. It's taken a few days to really dry up, so it's no longer tacky, but I really like the look and the beauty of especially the curly maple. It's always one of my favorites, and I really like this pattern. The epoxy I used that was really dark, you saw it looked like a dark red, really makes a really neat line on it, and really turned out well. I really like it. So I hope you did too. If you did, give me a thumbs up, put some comments below, and please subscribe today. Thanks for watching.